The pulse. Do 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 da 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 pulse. Do 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 da da da. Townships interviews. Don't forget breaking news. The pulse, the pulse, the pulse. Broadcast just for you.
On this episode, 3 stories from across the eastern townships. From the shores of Lake Memphremagog to local theater stages and the region's dairy farms. First, we remember North Hatley sailor Jay Caunter. More than a year after his disappearance at sea, a plaque at the Newport Harbour Dock now quietly honors the impact he had on fellow sailors here at home. Then, a new chapter for a familiar theater company. The North Hatley Theatre Troupe has rebranded as the Massawippi Theatre Troupe, with plans to expand productions across the townships and deepen its ties to Bishop's University and the wider community. And finally, we head to this year's annual meeting of Estrie dairy producers, where farmers voted against a proposed quota credit exchange system while preparing for new animal welfare rules and an evolving trade landscape. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast. It's been more than a year since North Hatley sailor Jay Caunter disappeared in the Caribbean after reporting engine trouble and falling silent at sea. Despite search efforts and the support of an international boating community, no trace of Caunter or his sailboat SV Venture has ever been found. Now back on Lake Memphremagog, where many remember him as a generous and knowledgeable sailor, a small plaque has been installed at the Newport Harbour Dock in Vermont, near the slip where he once kept his boat. The tribute was arranged by friend and fellow sailor Richard Drapeau, who says Caunter was always the first to step forward and help others tie up at the dock. In this episode, we look at the lasting impact Caunter had on the local sailing community and the quiet gesture that now marks his place along the lake.
Yeah, so I covered Jay's. I talked to him when he was in the Caribbean quite a few times for articles, and then of course he disappeared, and I covered that unfortunate story. And then I've been following that Facebook group where people talk about it, and somebody posted a picture of a plaque that was put where his boat used to stay in Newport. Is that right?
That's right. His girlfriend Kelly died a few years back, and I had told him that he should have put a plate for her because she'd love to be sitting on the bench looking at the Memphremagog Lake. So I told him a few times you should put a plate for her. He didn't get the time, I guess. So when he disappeared, I figured I'll do it for him. So that's why I put his name and Kelly's name on the plate.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So how did you know Jay? Give me a little bit of background.
Well, I have a sailboat at the Yacht Club Saint-Benoît, and I used to sail just about during the summer, just about every weekend towards Newport, and meet Jay, and we'll put both next to the other and have dinner together, and sleep on the lake, and do a few races. So he was my boat buddy, and that's it. And when he left for his big trips, I met him in Key West, in West Palm Beach, and I also saw him in Pompano Beach during his trip when he was going away. And the last time I spoke to him was 10 days before he disappeared. I was on a motorcycle trip in Costa Rica. He was in St. Martin, and we FaceTime for like an hour, and last time I heard about him. Okay, and where exactly is the plaque? Like what dock? It's on the Newport dock. It's on the American side where he kept his boat. It's almost 20 feet from where his boat was. There when you got off of his boat and you got on the dock, it was the bench that's right in front of him. Okay, and it was like. Did a group of friends do this, or was this all your idea? Well, I guess it was kind of my idea, but with because I had to write something in English, and I didn't know what to write and all that. It was proper. So I guess you could say Heidi and I kind of drafted what's written on the plate. But I'm part of the Memphremagog Yacht Club over there in Newport. So I guess since I'm part of it, you could say that we've done it.
Okay, and just I guess one little thing. I mean, the yacht club thought it was a great idea, obviously, and then they let you do it. It was.
Well, I spoke to the Harbour master over there, and I said, listen, I would like, this is the idea. I would like to have a plate made. How does, do I have to go to the city hall and all that? And he said, have the plate made. I'll take care of it. Well, when I had it, I went to see the Harbour master over there, and I said, well, here it is. Am I supposed to install it? What am I going to do? And he says, I'll take care of it. And you just put it on, I think. Probably with the authorization, but I'm not sure. I didn't check that.
And I see the picture was taken. It wasn't taken in the winter, obviously. How long has the plaque been there?
I had it put in the summer, at the end of the summer, I guess, maybe September. You should know that Jay was, every time someone Canadian from the Canadian side or American side was going to the dock, Jay was always the first one to get up and help us dock the boats, I met him, actually, him and Dave Lapp. They were both helping when I was getting it because I sail alone, so it's always fun to have some help. And Jay was the first one up to help.
That was our story on the plaque installed in memory of North Hatley sailor Jay Caunter at the Newport Harbour Dock. More than a year after his disappearance, friends on Lake Memphremagog continue to honor his legacy through small but meaningful gestures. For more stories like this, check out pulsetownships.com. I'm William Crooks. Thanks for listening, and keep that finger on the pulse. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast. Theater lovers in the Eastern Townships may soon notice a new name on local posters, but it's a familiar group behind it. After 2 years performing as the North Hatley Theatre Troupe, the company led by Michael Geary has officially rebranded as the Massawippi Theatre Troupe. The change reflects a broader vision, expanding beyond North Hatley to Lennoxville, Bishop's University, Haskell, and eventually communities across the townships. In this story, Geary explains why the original plan to center productions in North Hatley had to shift, how the new name keeps the troupe rooted in local geography, and why showcasing Bishop students and alumni is now central to the company's mission. They're also planning to remount the importance of being earnest as early as May, and they're actively looking for community support to help make it happen. Here's the full story.
I guess the news element is a kind of a rebranding. Give your background a little bit, and then let's talk about that.
Yeah, sounds good. So for the last 2 years, we've been going under the North Hatley Theatre Troupe with the original intent of bringing theatre back to North Hatley. Since that's proven to be not currently within our options, we are rebranding to the Massawippi Theatre Troupe and focusing ourselves not just on North Hatley, but on Lennoxville and expanding past that to most of the eastern townships if we can. For this year, we have a guaranteed expansion from Bishops to be doing Bishops and Haskell as well.
And tell me about the process for coming up with the new name.
Yeah, so we wanted to find something that still stuck with the original identity and was true to what has been happening over the last 2 years, but at the same time that wasn't localized in one specific area. The Massawippi is both the lake that is in and around North Hatley and the river that runs from North Hatley all the way through Lennoxville. So we wanted to keep something that had all of our identity and stuck to our origins, but also that seemed more neutral. It didn't seem like we were just a small town company coming from place to place.
Tell me about Bishops and Haskell.
Yeah, so we've been working with Bishops for 2 years now, and we continue to plan to do so for as long as we can, honestly. The entire goal of our troupe this year is to be focusing more on having Bishops, alumni and Bishops, students, showcasing what they've learned through their drama, through their musical theater and music degrees, and putting that onto a larger scale and giving them work experience at the same time as also showcasing to the greater Eastern Townships area what a degree of Bishops can do for you. Haskell, we contacted this year, and they seem quite open to actually having our shows go there for a weekend or so per show. So we're going to be making them part of our tour as we go along. We have other theaters that we're in discussions with right now, but as nothing's confirmed, I don't really want to put any names out there yet.
I mean, are you guys rehearsing to do anything right now, or?
We're still, since we're all still students at Bishop's, which for the most part we are unable to just yet. Charlie Brown is going up in 2 weeks, which a number of our troupe members are involved in, and people who will be members this year are involved in. But we are planning to remount our first show, The Importance of Being Earnest, as soon as early May, so that we're going to be having some returning cast members from the original showing and some new cast members to sort of show the evolution of the troupe, and to more or less from popular demand as well. There was a very long period of people talking about the show and how they wanted to see it or how they missed it due to the whole mix-up that we've had getting it going the first time. A rebirth for that show and an opportunity for people to see it that couldn't before, and also something that we're comfortable with taking right off the tail end of the semester so that we can make it happen really quickly since it's already half done. Great.
How many members are in the troupe right now?
It's more or less on a per show basis. A current permanent member is myself, and there are a couple of people from last year as well, namely Lily and Journey, who are helping me out on the business side of things to make sure that we have everything set up and organized for the year. And then there will be a number of returning faces that I can guarantee already, such as Casimir McDougall, who has been in both of the past shows that we've done.
Just remind me, I mean, where do you guys generally rehearse? In North Hatley or Turner or what?
Rehearsals have proved to be a bit of a difficult process. Last year, a part of our rehearsals were done in a basement for one of our actors, but I am in discussions right now to try and find a permanent place to rehearse in Lennoxville. Ideally, we're looking at finding a way to rehearse in Turner without having to use the full-on theater itself, and instead using one of the classrooms above it. And clear news on that in the coming weeks. There's also obviously we are trying to find some ways to finance. So it's also partially a call to find anybody who'd be willing to help out.
Do you guys have a website?
We're working on a website, but we do obviously have. You can reach us by email at any time. It's you have the email in case spelling is an issue. It still goes under North Hatley Theatre Troupe at gmail.com. And because our money does go through the Bishop's Alumni Association, anybody who wishes to write a check or knows how to use the website can try and find us on there, and would be able to write that out to Bishop's Alumni Association and put in the notes that it's for the troupe, at which point it can go straight there.
That was our look at the newly renamed Massawippi Theatre Troupe and its plans to grow theater across the Eastern Townships. From basement rehearsals to university stages, and now to cross-border performances at Haskell, the troupe is aiming to build something sustainable, community-driven, and distinctly local. If you'd like to get involved, support the troupe, or follow their upcoming productions, they have a Facebook page, and you can contact them at northhatleytheatretroupe@gmail.com. As always, thanks for listening. For more local news from across the townships, be sure to subscribe and follow along wherever you get your podcasts. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships. I'm William Crooks, and this is the Pulse of the Eastern Townships broadcast. Dairy producers in the Eastern Townships have voted against adopting a proposed credit exchange system that would have allowed farmers to temporarily trade portions of their production quota. At last week's annual general meeting of Les Producteurs de Lait de l'Estrie, members also discussed upcoming animal welfare rules set to take effect in 2027, growing consumer demand for higher protein dairy products, and the potential impact of future CUSMA trade negotiations. Regional Chair Christian Kaiser says while flexibility has its advantages, producers here decided maintaining their existing quota levels was the better choice, especially as the industry adapts to changing markets and prepares for key provincial decisions this spring.
Maybe give me one or two highlights of the main things that were discussed or things that happened, and then I'll bounce questions off of that.
Well, basically, we discussed about having a credit exchange, which producers in majority decided they were not interested in our region.
And what are the, I mean, in your view as the head, what are the pros and cons of that?
So basically the pros were that, like, if a producer has a hard time producing his milk for X reasons, be it, he wants to build a barn in 5 years and is buying quota now, to have the quota when he's done building? Is it a bad year forage-wise? Did he have bad luck with health with his cows? There's all kind of reasons.
Sure.
You know, he wants to renovate part of his barn, so he moves the part out, or, you know, just the feed wasn't good that year. There's a bunch of reasons why you could underproduce. You could sell the rights to produce those kgs of fat to another producer that is somewhere in Quebec in a better situation where he can produce more milk at the time. Temporarily kind of sell the right, some of those credits out to a producer that right now is producing more than he expected to produce.
Sure, and then, so I guess people decided they didn't want to do that. I mean, what reasons would they give for that?
So the large reason is if you put a system like that in place, it would mean that the quota that's allocated to farms would be produced at a higher rate. And basically right now, to produce 100% of the milk that we're supposed to produce in Quebec, we over-allocate by a percentage and be reduced. So all farmers kind of would get a little bit of reduction in quota because it would be filled better.
Okay, so it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense to me that maybe most farmers would bet that they can meet quotas, but they think they don't need it, and they'd rather have the higher cap.
They'd rather have more quota.
More quota, yeah.
Owned that they own than to get the flexibility, because basically the credit exchange is, you know, would be flexibility. If things go better than anticipated or worse on your farm, you could kind of swap those rights to produce between farmers.
Right.
But I guess, so in our region, and there's some regions that the results came out differently, and only half the regions in Quebec right now have their annual general meeting for their regions. So, you know, in some places farmers saw more benefits to it. In our region, you know, being the situation that the farms are in, the way they see it, they decided they didn't see the interest in having it.
What else happened? Was anyone new elected to the board?
The board stayed exactly the same, but in the executive, the second vice president changed, which would now be, so I'm president of the region, and then Karine Moreau is still first VP, and then Chantal Marcoux is second VP. Yeah. Not on the board, but as second VP.
There must have been some kind of annual report or something. Did you give me like a highlight off that, or?
Well, we had an annual report of everything we did in the region. So all the meetings we had with, you know, MPs, municipalities, activities that we were at, all the commandites. Yeah, so sponsorships, all the sponsorships that locally we gave. So we got one big sponsorship that every region has one big sponsorship they can go, and we had that with the Festival des Traditions that we participated in, where, you know, dairy was put forward quite a bit, and so that was really nice. And then we have a lot of sponsorships with sports events, hockey tournaments, and then all other sports, smaller activities, be it soccer and things like that, baseball tournaments that we sponsor. And then a lot of sponsorship goes with sports and with schools and kids. So a lot of schools, when they have sports events at schools or special days at schools where they do stuff outside, we sponsor a lot of those things. So we brought that forward a lot. And then we spoke about, the representation we did with MPs about the renegotiation or review of CUSMA that's coming up in 2026. So basically, so we met MPs locally here, but also we have lobby days with Dairy Farmers of Canada that I participated in.
Right.
So one in October and one in February, where we met. I met local MPs, so we had meetings with our local MPs from here in Ottawa at their office. So I participated in that, but I also met the staff of Pierre Poliev and Danielle Gavet, which is our chair in Quebec. He met with Mark Carney himself, which was really, really nice. It's hard to get a meeting with the with the Prime Minister.
Sure.
So him and a chair of Dairy Farmers of Canada, and so there were a couple of them there was like 4 people that met with Mark Carney. So we met, and I guess what came out of that is that at the time we have large support from the government in power and from the opposition parties. Right now, everybody is real supportive and kind of, is acknowledging that we should protect dairy in the coming up review that's coming up in 2026.
Okay, great. So that's a big thing coming up. I mean, is there anything my questions missed? Something important? Like, for instance, did you happen to get an uptick in English farmers like you were looking for, or is that still kind of a problem?
That's basically we had some we went around like every MRCR meeting. We had the papers and the presentations in English. We sent them to the producers in English. Now, over the year before next year's meetings, we're gonna contact them one by one and see, is there interest in having a one meeting before the AGM to inform English producers in the region and have a meeting just with them so they feel free and feel comfortable expressing themselves. There were some discussions about the new animal welfare code and pro-action on the animal welfare. So we presented, the new kind of rules that are coming up in starting April 2027. That went pretty good in this region. I think a lot of farms here have already done the moves, because a lot of things that are in the new code are kind of things that help with the welfare and your bottom line at the end. So there wasn't too much pushback from the producer side. So we brought that information out there, gave them the timelines, showed them, and showed them some tools that are available at the LactaNet, the LACTA, that do calculators that figure out how much, an estimate of how much you're going to have to invest to be up to code. So that was quite interesting as well. And then I guess on our provincial chair that was at the meeting, he did a presentation and kind of showed us and talked about a lot of investment coming down the pipeline. The response on the dairy side, there's really large growth, which is really good news, because there's growth in yogurt and cheese. There's a lot of growth on the protein side of dairy, also on the fat, but the protein side is going faster than the fat. And on the producer side, we gave out a signal a couple of years back, and that said we needed more fat. So the answer from producers was a lot stronger and faster than anticipated. At this moment last year, we saw a shift where protein was going down and fat up. And on the processor, what the consumer wanted, all of a sudden that they wanted a lot more protein. So it's actually really positive, because it's extra revenue farmers can get, but there's a challenge to get there. There's a challenge to be able short term fill that market, get the milk to the processors, because that shift, there's a genetic shift that takes 3 to 4 years, but there's things you can do in feed. So we got to kind of shift from, the ratio between how much protein you're making and fat to have a bit more protein and less fat in the milk. And that's a challenge.
Right.
It's an opportunity. I really want to put it out there as it's an opportunity, because it's extra revenue by kilogram of quota we have. Yeah. And so that was the kind of presentation that we showed to farmers when we did the tour. And we kind of reiterated now, and there's a lot of investment coming, like on the processor side, for yogurt, cheese, fortified milks. There's also processing more for cottage cheese, which is, cottage cheese had like 59% growth in the last 12 months, which is exceptional. So, and we have one plant in Quebec, in Emqui that mostly does cottage cheese. So they're gonna pump up capacity there, and it's really good news overall.
Just one thing my readers might be asking, and excuse my ignorance, but how do you change the protein and fat levels of the milk or the dairy product? Is it what you feed the cattle, or is there some kind of filtering process? Like, how does that even work?
So part of it is, well, when you talk about fortified milk, they're actually taking like 1.5 to 3 liters, depending, like the yogurt. They're taking extra liters of milk that they're taking off the cream to make butter or ice cream, so they're making cream on the one side with, making butter cream products.
Yeah.
Taking the protein and concentrating that protein, putting it and more protein into the milk. Right now what we need is, since there's more growth on the protein side than fat, when you're taking that fat off, there's got to be a market for that fat. So we have to adjust on the farm. Per liter of milk, we need more protein. Per cow, we need more protein production, a bit less fat. And that's going to come from genetics. Genetics is one big factor. And there's also how you feed the cows. Management, how you feed the cows is gonna be able to change that too.
And what's the next big thing coming up for you guys? Is it Kuzma?
Well, yeah, next big thing is going to be, Kuzma is going to be a big thing, but we might be able to talk maybe after we have our provincial AGM in April. Then we might see how, the decisions there line up with the decisions that we made in our region. And, so it's really, that's going to be the next big thing. It's where, the 14 regions come together with their delegates and, decide, well, this is what we decided in our region, but provincially, where's the majority going to go?
That was a look at this year's Estrie Dairy Producers Annual Meeting. For more local news from across the Eastern Townships, including coverage of agricultural issues that matter to our region, visit pulsetownships.com and follow us on social media. I'm William Crooks. Thanks for listening, and always remember, keep that finger on the pulse. That's it for this episode. We looked at a lakeside tribute to sailor Jay Caunter, a new direction for the newly renamed Massawippi Theatre Troupe, and key decisions facing dairy producers here in the Eastern Townships. You can find full coverage of all 3 stories on pulsetownships.com. I'm William Crooks. Thanks for listening and for supporting local journalism. Be sure to subscribe and follow along for more community stories from across the townships. And always remember, keep that finger on the pulse.
Townships interviews. Don't forget breaking news. The Pulse, the Pulse, the Pulse. Broadcast just for you. Are you heading out for a cruise? Or lying there for a snooze? The Pulse, the Pulse, the Pulse, broadcast just for you. Hey, I know that guy, I know that gal. Hey, I know that gal too. The Pulse, the Pulse, the Pulse, broadcast just for you. The townships are the muse, make sure to choose. The Pulse, 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 the Pulse. The Pulse of the Eastern Townships, broadcast just for you.